Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Jim Masters Show, entertainment, lifestyle, variety talk show series. Hope you guys are doing well from wherever you're watching around the world. We welcome our international audience of lovely viewers who really engage with our show in such a beautiful way. I really love all these comments you guys have been leaving on our YouTube channel and all of the tweets and the Instagram messages and the Facebook posts and sharing the links, and all of it is fantastic. Thank you, gang. We started this as an entertainment, lifestyle, variety talk show series, bringing back the lost art of conversation. And here's another great episode with a spectacular guest joining us. You know where he is? Reykjavík, Iceland. Yes, the capital of the country of beautiful Iceland. We're talking about Nick Jameson. Of course, he is a Hollywood veteran as well. He was even a part of the group Foghat. Yes. Remember Foghat? Of course. Legendary. Singer, musician, actor, voice artist, comedian. He's a composer. He's a multi-instrumentalist. He's a record producer, recording engineer. This guy does it all. And you may remember him from, of course, Foghat. Look at the performance here. We're going to talk about all these incredible things that he has done in his career. A lot of his own music out, too. Look at that. Look what we dug up. Really cool stuff. We have some great video to show you and all kinds of cool things, but some really vintage stuff. Again, known for being a part of the legendary group Foghat, but also having his own epic career and expanding as an actor. Yes, a tremendous voice artist. He's been a part of the series Lost. You may remember, of course, he played Richard Malkin, which was an incredible role on the series Lost on ABC. Of course, he was also in the West Wing. He had a part in the West Wing. Criminal Minds, of course, you know, even on the soap opera Days of Our Lives. Beverly Hills 90210. Again, this is the short list. Prolific television actor, film, and so much more. In addition, the Golden Girls. He even made an appearance on the Golden Girls. On Seinfeld, yes. Something that's brand new is Against the Ice. We're going to talk about that. That is really exciting. That is brand new, and we're very excited about that. Also, in addition, listen closely to some of the voices that you hear, especially a particular voice on these animated projects. What's New, Scooby-Doo? Yes, he has actually voiced that, as well as Spider-Man and Dr. Loboto, and even on Frozen, Disney's Frozen. You can hear his voice on World of Warcraft and in several Star Wars videos and more. We'll explain this. Stay tuned. Good luck, Mr. Korsky. His voice is on that. Here's another character we're going to talk about. Yes. Yeah, Phineas and Herb. His voice is on that. He does a lot of incredible animated voice characters. And What's New, Scooby-Doo, Flintstones, Yabba Dabba Doo. These are just a few, the short list. The Prophet. And Psychonauts 2. A lot of people know these from video games, from animations, and so much more. He's also, again, a tremendous performer, and he still performs, too. He's still out there performing, which is really, really cool. Again, he, about 7 years ago, he made the choice to move to beautiful Iceland, and he hasn't looked back. Look at the name on the bottom of that of your screen. It says Mike Reese, executive producer of The Simpsons. Mike was a guest on the Jim Masters Show about a year ago, and we talked about The Simpsons and so much more. He is awesome. Some other great clips here and great photos. In addition, he's a fantastic entertainer, a wonderful comedian, and so much more. Here he is in Los Angeles and in Reykjavík, and on and on and on. So whether you know him for animations or the television shows or film or possibly performing with Foghat, whatever it is, he has really created quite a legacy for himself. And he's a true ultimate entertainer. Nick Jameson joining us here live and direct again from Reykjavík, Iceland, on this episode of the Jim Masters Show. Gang, if you would like to comment on the show, feel free in the JMS Lovity Live chat room. You can comment in the chat room exclusively right now when you subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Jim Masters TV. That's the channel you're watching. We encourage and welcome and invite you to do that. Just hit that subscribe button there. It's that red rectangular thing that you see at the head of our YouTube channel. Click that, become a subscriber. There's no cost. It means you'll be part of the JMS Lovity family. And also, of course, give this episode and all the episodes you like a hearty like. We welcome the JMS Lovity family, and we welcome everybody watching around the world. And now, coming to us from Reykjavík, Iceland. Why don't you put your hands together like we always love to do? And let's welcome our very special guest, Nick Jameson, who is joining us all the way from across the big pond. Nick, welcome to the Jim Masters Show, my friend. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Great to be here, Jim. I'm feeling lovity. You're getting my lovity on right about now.
You're getting your lovity on. That is exactly right, my friend. You got it. That's exactly what we're all about. How are you, and how are things in beautiful Reykjavík, Iceland? You were mentioning to me, we were talking about, because I'm fascinated by weather and events and just geology and all as well, and the big volcano, of course, in Iceland that was erupting in the spring. You said I said, is it pretty much wrapped, because you haven't heard much about it, but it's shaking things up a little bit again, making itself known once again there in Iceland, huh?
Yeah, we've been having big earthquakes. I mean, California style earthquakes. I was in LA during the Chatsworth earthquakes. It wasn't that bad. It's not that bad, but it's worrisome. I live on a third and fourth story of an apartment, small apartment building, and it's like,
yeah, right.
So it's an experience, and that means the volcano will be probably erupting very soon.
The volcano is next. Yeah. So, Iceland is a beautiful, beautiful country. And I was mentioning to you that I had a kid in the 7th grade named Thor who used to talk about Iceland because he was, from Iceland. His family was from Iceland originally. And then it always fascinated me. Iceland, I think, fascinates a lot of people who either have never visited Iceland or, read about it or see it on TV, whatever it is. They're just fascinated by the beauty and the raw nature that it presents. You moved there about 7 years ago from the States. Again, you have this wonderful career in music and television and voiceovers and legendary background with Foghat, all of this. What was it about Iceland that lured you, Nick?
Well, it's kind of hard to say. I mean, I can tell you certain things I do love about it, but ultimately it's almost like a spiritual connection. It is a spiritual connection to the place. It just feels like home. It is beautiful, as you said. It's just inspiringly wonderful. Reykjavík is a very small city. It's a small town that thinks it's a city. So you get all the advantages of a small town life, plus all the city stuff, great music venues, restaurants, clubs, great arts and entertainment scene. So I love that. You could just walk. I don't even have a car. I lived in Los Angeles for 25 years. I'm never going to have a car again.
No,
I just walk everywhere. It's great. And it's very interactive. Every time you meet, if I meet a musician, within days, I'll meet 10 of his friends, and 2 days later we'll form a band or something. You play a comedy gig, and then you go to somebody else's gig. It's just always a flow going, which is the opposite from LA, which you do this and then you drive for 45 minutes and you do that, and then you plan to have coffee 3 days in advance with somebody. It's as far from LA as you can get, and I like that.
You plan to have coffee with that person, but then you get a call from them that they're not coming for the coffee because somebody that is more advantageous to their career wants to have coffee with them, so they drop you. That's what I've always heard.
Well, you can do both things here. You could take care of business and have a personal thing. Just everything's a couple of minutes away, so you could do it all.
It's a beautiful place, isn't it?
Freeway to get stuck on, yeah.
Right. Because out west right now, they said it's very, very hot. They're going through quite a heat wave, and it's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
But so you grew up on the West Coast, And
No, I grew up in on the East Coast mostly.
oh, you were on the East Coast. What
Yeah,
part?
mostly in Philadelphia.
Philly,
And
yes.
spent a few years in Italy, then a few years in Greece, and then some time in England. But I claimed Philly because it was my teenage years mostly, so that's my hood. And then from there, I moved to upstate New York. I lived on the island for a while myself.
You
I
did
know,
out on Long Island, yeah.
yeah, and Rocky Point.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, sure,
yeah,
yeah.
and then I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and then to the West Coast.
Wow, you've really gotten around, huh? Gee. You know, Philadelphia is such a great city for music. So
Oh yeah,
many artists. We just had Kevin Eubanks on recently, of course,
wow.
fabulous guitarist and great guy. And we were talking about Philadelphia and the music scene. Uh, when you look at it, growing up in that area first, has that left an indelible mark on you, or is there something about coming from the area that still sticks with you, Nick?
Oh, very much. I would say the whole Philly soul thing, really a big part of all the music I do. Um, I had a band there called the American Dream. It wasn't particularly Philly-ish. Except we all talk with Philly accents, so you
Yeah.
knew we were from Philly, and all our humor was on the that we would put on records was sort of in jokes and stuff. But yeah, it is a great music place, great music schools, great clubs, big jazz scene there. Always
Mm,
has.
yeah, that's really. How long were you there till? When did you leave Philly? How old were you
I
when you left?
left Philly until when I was about 20.
Mm. So
Yeah, and I
then,
moved to Woodstock, New York to become a
uh,
recording engineer.
straight to Woodstock. That's
Mm.
cool. So when you were in Philadelphia, were you in bands? What were some of the inspiration to get into the arts, entertainment, music for you early on, Nick?
Well, I was in this band called the American. I had several bands, but the one that did best was called the American Dream. We sort of patterned ourselves on the Moby Grape, which was a '60s band that had three guitars, and we had that. And yeah, it was we were a rock band, and uh, let's see, what else can I tell you about Philly? I grew up. Actually, I went to school with Eric Bazillion, who was one of the Hooters, which
Yeah,
was a big band from Philly in the '80s, and we were
right.
friends since we were kids. And I worked on their last record with them, and they're a great band. And they actually influenced me a lot. Their use of mandolins.
Mm,
In fact, Eric turned me onto the octave mandolin, which is my prime instrument now. That's what I
mhm.
perform with mostly. I write all my songs on it. It kicks the butt of a guitar. Octave mandolin, people, get one. It's great.
Nick Sugar.
Yeah.
That is really, really cool. So you head upstate to Woodstock, and
Mm.
around what time was that?
That was in the '70s. Yeah, I went to work at Albert Grossman's studio. Albert Grossman's Bob Dylan's manager, Janis
Mhm.
Joplin's manager,
Right.
Richie Havens, a lot of Peter Paul and Mary. He was kind of a legend at that time, and he had settled in Woodstock, in the town of Bearsville, actually, which is part of Woodstock, really. And he had a studio, Bearsville Studios, and there were so many amazing artists there. It was Paul Butterfield, Jeff and Maria Muldaur, the Full Tilt Boogie Band. I mean, I could just go on and on. There are just so many really amazing writers and performers there. Um, and it was a crazy place too. I mean, it was kind of decadent, kind of out of control.
Yeah.
But for a while, it's not anymore. It's just a small suburban, semi-country town now. But Bearsville Studios was a happening place there. A lot of great music got made there, and that's where I went from. I learned how to engineer, and then I went from there to producing while I was working there.
So the behind the scenes, the engineering, the producing, was that competing with any desire to be the performer, to be the instrumentalist, to be the vocalist, to be out front for you, or were you sort of weaving in and out of both at the same time,
I
simultaneously?
was weaving. I should have said when you asked me about my Philly influences, Todd Rundgren had a big effect on me. He produced our record. In fact, The American Dream was his first record production. That's one of
Mm,
the first thing he ever produced, and he was doing everything himself. He had this thing where he just got into production, would do all his own engineering, and then when he did his solo albums, he'd get I just it inspired me to want to do all this stuff. because I would figure I would have more control, and just plus it seemed fun, you know. And I'd had frustrating experiences in studios with people that I didn't think got what I wanted to do. So that really influenced me to want to be an engineer and a producer. But, you know, I kept playing. I was playing around Woodstock a lot. Paul Butterfield was kind of my mentor, I would say, in those days. He was my best friend. He taught me pretty much everything I know about the blues. We played together a lot. I would go out and play with Bonnie Raitt sometime. And just so I didn't stop playing while I was doing this. It actually, through doing that, through production and engineering, I got to meet a lot of amazing artists and got to play with some of them.
How did the relationship, how did the whole Foghat situation happen for you? Of course, that's a name people are quite familiar with as well. Tell us about that. That's kind of cool.
Well, they just made the first record. They were called Brandywine at the time. Terrible, boring name. And Dave Edmonds had produced their record, and Todd Rundgren, I think, had also produced one track. And they weren't happy with some of the mixes. So Paul Fishkin, who was the head of Bearsville Records, their record label, sent them to me. So, you know, give this guy a shot, see if he can mix these for you. And they liked working with me. And I remixed some of the stuff on the record. And when it was time to do their I didn't do their second record. I was off doing something else. But on their third record, they brought me in to produce Rock and Roll Outlaws. And then sometime after that, they parted ways with their bass player, and they asked me if I played bass. I lied and said yes. And, did a quick crash course.
I think, yeah.
I got pretty good. You know, I got tendonitis in the process, but so I joined them. I said I joined them for a year because I really wasn't playing sort of that kind of hard rock stuff anymore. I was kind of getting kind of jazzy, you know.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I'll do this for a year. It'll be fun. I love the guys. We're going to be in the studio anyway. And so that's how I ended up with them. And we toured for a year. We made Fool for the City. And it was a great time. There's old Dave. What a sweetheart he was. God.
What was he like?
He was just a sweetheart of the universe. He's just a die-hard, old-school rocker. You know, he had this line in one of his songs, "Gonna roll till I'm old, gonna rock till I drop." And he did, you know. It was just pure joy for him to do that. He loved playing for people. He loved blues. He loved rock. He was just an expert on all of it. Great, great guy.
Oh yeah, look at that. That's from one of the shows. That's cool. That's a good show. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Cool. What is that from? Do you recall?
It's from a film called Janked. It was a while ago.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, I played a sort of
a little bit of a progression there between the two.
Right, acting causes homicidal urges.
Right? I was going to say you go from that to that. That is funny, but that was quite a. When you look back at that, you look back at this period with Foghat fondly.
Yeah, it was a fun thing. I didn't, you know, when it got to the end of the year, they were kind of bugging me, man, just stay on, you know, we'll be great. We'll have fun. We'll make more records and blah, blah, blah. But I wanted, at that point, I did want to do my own stuff. I wanted to, actually, I left, I went up to San Francisco when I left them and went to music school for a while because I just wanted to branch out and learn some more stuff. And then Paul Butterfield called me and wanted to put a band together, so I immediately went back to Woodstock, and we started doing that. But I wasn't really feeling it. I wanted to do a solo thing.
You wanted to do a solo?
Figured, okay, it's time to do a solo thing. So, and that's what I did. But you know, I did a few more records for them after that. I produced their live album and some later ones too.
Right. Yeah, that's cool, huh? So that's you know, you start out behind the scenes and you end up out front, and kind of like Karen Carpenter. I remember she was the drummer, and she really was comfortable in the back, but her voice was so extraordinary that they were able to convince her to, you know, front the group, and that's
Oh, did
rest
she stop playing drums when she became the singer?
You know, I don't, yeah, I think so. I don't recall her seeing her do the drums and, as the years went on, I think,
Because I have seen her singing and playing drums. I don't know when that was. Maybe
yes,
that's
right.
what
In
she
the
did.
early, I think some of the earlier parts. Yeah. Which
Yeah.
is kind of cool. We showed this too. Um,
Oh my
that's when,
God. What a fluffy
when
little.
was this album?
That was in the 80s. It was
This was
late
in the
80s.
80s. Yeah.
Yeah, that was on Motown Records. I think it was the only white guy in Motown Records.
Probably.
Yeah,
Yeah. A crowd of one. You were a crowd of one, basically.
yeah. I've used that title I used it for that. I used it for my animation voiceover demo, and now I'm using it for the solo show I'm doing.
Now, was there any desire, once you're in Foghat and you're getting a taste of, this whole the adulation and the cheering and screaming and all, was there something did something, bite you, the bug bite you to want to be out there and do that? Or no, you really preferred the behind the scenes?
No, I like performing. I love performing. I think it's my first love. But the adulation in the arenas and, 20,000 people holding up cigarette lighters, that got old. I mean, the first time we went out on a big Foghat tour, my first big Foghat gig, it was like, oh my God, you feel like Michael Jackson about to go out. But that wore off pretty quick. And otherwise, it just didn't mean anything to me. And the fact was, playing these huge arenas, you couldn't hear yourself that good. You couldn't see the audience that well. It was just kind of all disconnected for me. I much prefer to play in a smaller place where there's more interaction. And yeah, so I didn't want to do what Foghat were doing. Really, I
Yeah.
didn't. In fact, by the time the year was up, I had had enough of being on the road and doing that.
Doing that whole lifestyle.
I do go out on the road and play now, but it's not in huge places like that. It's doing my own stuff. I'm not just playing bass, for somebody else's music. So, but I really haven't thought about behind the scenes, in front of the scenes. I just kind of move around. I learned to produce so I could make my own stuff, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You mentioned all this moving around, Philadelphia, then Woodstock. Did you go from Woodstock to Italy, to Europe, or did you go to LA?
No, I went to Italy when I was a kid, and then in Greece when I was a teenager, and we were still based in Philadelphia. And then once I went to Woodstock, I just stayed there until I moved to Atlanta.
So then what was the draw for Atlanta? What attracted you to Atlanta more?
Well, I was producing a record of a guy named David Anderson who lived there, and he wanted to do the record down there. And I went down there, and it was just a cool place. So we rented a house, we made the record, and then I just decided I'm going to stay here. I was kind of over Woodstock. It's like being in a mosh pit. It's fun for a while.
And
It
then,
just got kind
wake
of
up.
crazy. Yeah, and people just started dying off. There was so much drugs and alcohol, and people just abusing that stuff. It was just getting kind of crazy. So yeah, I just decided to live in Atlanta, and I would produce records, work on my own stuff. I built a little studio in my house, and it's fun.
That's it. That's cool. So then from Atlanta, then you moved on from there. What happened from Atlanta? What was next?
Well, I'll try to give you the short version. I was rock climbing. I was soloing something I shouldn't have, and I fell off and messed up my foot, and I was in and out of the hospital for a year.
Wow.
Lost my record contract, lost my publishing deal, and just my life really changed. And I was at a point where I needed to make some money, and I had my foot in a cast. And a friend of mine did voiceover. A friend named David DeVries, who's an excellent voiceover artist and a great actor.
Oh, he's terrific. I've done voiceover work over the years, and that's a name you see come up a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And
yours too.
I'd always just messed around with character voices and dialects my whole life. It's always been just something and I thought, well, I could do that. And it turned out I could. I made a tape and I started working. And then my agents started wanting to send me out on camera stuff. So I got into that.
Commercials and corporate video.
Yeah, all of that stuff, industrial films, all that kind of stuff.
Industrials.
And after about a year of that, I decided to move to LA because I really loved it.
Yeah.
You know, I had been stuck in the studio for the years previous to that so much, just be really hibernating in studios, and then records would come out. You don't know if they're going to get released or that they're going to do well, or, you know, it was just too iffy. And then
That's
when
a
I
lot.
started doing voiceover, you walk into a studio, you talk, they pay you, you know, it's like, wow, I love this. And it's more socially interactive too, you know, and acting, of course, a team sport,
Right.
where music sometimes isn't. And
Exactly. Right.
yeah,
Exactly.
so I
So
just love.
when you were sliding into the voiceover world, was there a specific area of voiceover? Because for those watching, there's a lot of different, you know, variables and genres even within the voiceover world. There's
Mm.
promo voice. There's, you know, sort of the animation voice. There's the news anchor sound. There's all these different
Mhm.
genres. What was it that was speaking to you? What did you seem to really want to zone in? I mean, you've done so much in animation, it's video
Mhm.
games, and it's incredible. That's become something that is a real bread and butter area for you.
Yeah, well, that was what I was interested in, was character voices. You know, just making up characters and playing them. That was just something I loved. And so when I went to LA, I made a voice demo, and it had mostly characters, but it also had a spot of me doing a commercial in my normal voice. And shortly after I sent it out, two agencies called me back. Don Pitt's Voices, which was a really good agency, called me and said, "Well, listen, I think you got a really nice voice. Just forget about all these characters. You could have a really good career with that voice of yours." And then Cunningham Escott DePini, who's a really big agency, called me and they said, "We just love all your character stuff. We do a lot of animation. We love." And I said, "Okay, I'm going with you."
Yeah.
So yeah, because you know, and that's been my focus. I have done straight up commercials and narrations and stuff like that, but I much prefer doing character stuff. I think I'm better at it, you know.
What about impressions? Do you like to do impressions as well?
A bit. I used to do. I haven't thought about that for a long time.
I heard you do a good Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart. God, I have to remember. I don't know where you heard that. I don't think I've ever done it before. But I saw him in The Merchant of Venice. Signor Antonio, many times and often the Rialto, you have rated me about my monies and my uses. That might be something like him. But I did do.
I like the way you said that. That might be something like him.
Yeah, you know, for me to do an impression, I have
It
to hear it
sounds
and
like
do
him.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked on a show called The Critic.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
John
Which
Lovett,
Mike
John Lovett.
Reese and
Yeah, yeah. And a guy named Maurice LaMarche, who is a major voiceover guy. We were both kind of starting out. He'd been doing it longer than me. But on the show, he and I would do most of the voices. We'd have like 20, 25 voices each on a show. It was very challenging and very fun. But he's a master impressionist. You know, he's a far better impressionist than I could ever be. And he did most of the impressions. And there were a lot of impressions on that show. And I would tend to play historical characters. You know, everything was Saddam Hussein or, you know, Fidel Castro or somebody like a lot of characters whose voices you may not even know what they sounded like. You'd have to kind of half make it up, and made up characters. Well, we both did a lot of made up characters, but he was really. I would do some impressions on there, especially when there were two characters talking to each other, but I didn't. You know, I never pursued impressions the way Maurice did, or the way Jim Meskimen or some of these other guys.
he was a guest recently too, Jim Meskimen. He's terrific.
I mean, they really specialize in that stuff. They just have a huge repertoire of voice.
So what was it like, you know, working on The Critic? Even that alone, it's beloved.
Yeah, it was. That was my first big job, actually. I had just come to LA. I'd been there, I think, maybe less than a year, and everybody was auditioning for this thing. I didn't think I had a chance, but They like me, Mike Reese and Al Jean and
Yeah.
James L. Brooks. They just liked what I was doing, and I got in, and it was, oh my God, I've hit the big time.
Yeah. That's the ticket.
Yeah, that's it.
John
Yeah,
Lovitz.
no,
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun because the scripts were so great, and the cast was so great. We had Nancy Cartwright in the voice of Bart Simpson. We had Judith Ivey, wonderful actress, Garrett Graham, Chris Kavanaugh, just a lot of really good actors. Charles Napier. I'm
Yeah.
probably moving people out because we had we had a pretty big cast. The script supervisor for The Simpsons, Doris Grau, became a character because the character was kind of based on her, and nobody could do her voice like she did. So it was fascinating. And the thing about the Critic, which you don't see much now at all in voiceovers, we would all get in a room, get on the soundstage at 20th Century Fox, and record it live. And we'd do a whole scene at a time, all together, interacting off each other. Nowadays, at that time, most cartoons, you would also be all in a room together, but you do short sections, and then you do a couple different versions of them. But we did whole scenes, and nowadays, pretty much everything is done one person at a time, which I honestly don't like at all.
And everybody's, I would imagine too, you're not even sometimes in the same. You're not in the same. And now, especially,
you're not hearing the other person.
No,
you're just
playing off
reading
their
these things
energy.
wild. Yeah, I guess it gives them more control in a way, but as far as the acting,
it loses something. You think?
Yeah, you lose the interaction. Because you're not feeding off what the other person is giving you.
So it's not something you
in the
like.
Critic, we would just bounce off each other. It was great.
Yeah. Isn't that incredible? I mean, that's such a great series. But I know what you mean as far as not having the energy of the other people, because then the real acting is what comes in, because it really is voice acting, and you're playing off each other and bouncing off each other's energy. And when you don't have that, you have to sort of create it in a way, and you don't have the eye contact or any of that. But so you're not really necessarily a fan of that, though. You probably have a studio there where you do the voice work, right?
Yeah, I do some. I don't do as much as I used to. I don't pursue it that much. We did. You mentioned Psychonauts too. I did that from here. Well, not from my place, from another studio in Iceland. But I do some stuff here. Mostly I use the studio for music. But yeah, and nowadays, you pretty much always do all your auditioning from home, which I don't like, because you're not reading you don't have a director.
It's all the self-tape stuff now.
Yeah. You don't have someone saying, "Oh, that was great. We got it." And so you never know if you got it.
Right. And the pandemic has added to that world now. Everybody's doing it. Even I've done some self-tape stuff for people, and it's interesting, isn't it? I guess you can do it 10 times before or 100 times before you submit it, but still, it is, you don't get the feedback like, oh, would you like me to maybe twist up the wording a little bit or come at it a different way or something? You don't get the direction.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you're in the room, I mean, when I first started doing voiceovers, started doing commercial voiceovers, you would go to an ad agency, or they would come to a recording studio. The people were producing the commercial, and they would tell you what they wanted. You throw something at them, and they say, "That's great, but change this and do that," and then you'd get it. And then it became, you would go into your agency and read with a booth reader, and you'd still get some feedback. It's not the person who's making the decision, though, so it was different, but you got some feedback. So as an actor, you could not drive yourself crazy. You could just say, "Okay, they liked it. I'm happy." Now that everything is being done totally in isolation, I just don't like it. It's not fun. It's, and I don't know why the producers like to do that, because what they do now, they cast this big net out there. They audition all these people, and these people are recording at home, making whatever choices they think are right. Then they have all these tapes. Okay. And they're listening, and rather, they can't give anybody feedback there, okay, you're getting one idea that Jim Cummings could do out of 1,000, whereas if you're in the room with him, you could say, "Do something else," and he'll get it. It's just, I'm not sure why people do that. Now, COVID has made that even more so. On-camera acting, on-camera audition have gone almost all self-tapes now.
It's all
Which
self-taped.
really drives me crazy. It's in a way, it's good for me. It's kind of self-defeating of me to say I don't like it, because that's the only way I can audition for my son. But man, I was just having a Facebook conversation with somebody about that, about how I used to love auditioning. A lot of actors don't like auditioning, but to me, it was a mission.
Yeah.
You'd get the sides a day before usually,
Yeah.
and you go home, you read it, you make your choices, you feel it out, you work on it. I like to memorize it. I like to be off book when I do it.
Are you good with memorization?
Yeah. And you get up in the morning, and I would just drive to the place. I'd be totally focused. I get in the Zen state. You walk in the room, and there's people there and you can feel if they're digging it or not. And they can tell you if they want something different. And you see the other actors there. You see who you're competing with. It's okay. I know what you're going to do. I'm going to take it away from you.
Right.
It was like being a ninja warrior going. And I love the whole thing. A lot of great actors hate audition. I think I heard that Robert De Niro hates it. I think a lot of the best actors never liked it. Most people I know don't love it.
Right.
But I liked that. I don't like self-taping, but I did like it.
You feed off the energy.
Like it back in the day when there were people there, if you talk to a person and they smile and that was good. Okay, I can go home.
So, well, that's me being a curmudgeon and complaining about these kids today and blah, blah, blah.
That's it. Hey, you got involved in Scooby-Doo. So, I mean, that's not half too bad, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about that. How did this happen? We'll run through some of the
Scooby-Doo,
animations.
I think I did a couple of episodes. I did so much stuff. I did, I would have regular series that I did regularly, but
you got into the video game world, which is a terrific area to be in, huh?
Yeah. With the Spider-Man, I was in Spider-Man, the animated series. I played Morbius.
That's right.
I know there's a Morbius movie out. I really should see it, I suppose. That was a great experience. That was also an early experience for me. There were just a lot of when you do voiceover, you just do a lot of stuff, and I don't remember 90% of this stuff I've done. Sometimes people ask
remember
me
this character.
I did that. I don't remember that. It looks like something out of one of the Psychonaut games, or is it? No, what is that? Oh God!
How about Darts Dinar? Yeah, is Darts. Remember this one?
I do not remember the picture. I might remember what's that from?
Well, yeah. So you're right. You're seeing the script as far as not seeing necessarily the video.
No.
Do you, like Phineas and Ferb? Have you seen the finished product with the animations, or you just you do the
Some
work
of it, stuff like the Critic, of course. I would watch
yes
religiously.
This one's popular for Disney.
Yeah, the kitty cartoons, I didn't want to get up early on Saturday morning. Back in the day, if you, it's hard to you didn't have TiVo and stuff like that, digital recorders. So
kind of cool
most
to do
of the stuff I've done, I've probably never seen, honestly.
Kind of cool to be involved in it, just to still have these opportunities, Flintstones and the Prophet too, as well.
Yeah, God, the Prophet.
So
I remember doing it. I don't remember what I did though.
This guy here, and of course you mentioned Psychonauts.
The Psychonauts. Tim Schafer's productions, I do tend to remember because they're so brilliant. He's such a great writer. He did Sam and Max Hit the Road and Monkey
Dr.
Island.
Loboto.
Yeah, Dr. Loboto. Yeah, they're just great characters and great writing. Normally,
what does he sound like? Do you recall what he said? Dr. Loboto sounds like.
I'm going to eat your brains. It was sort of like that.
I'm not doing it exactly, I'm sure.
You need a sip of the Coke?
In my head, he's got a character that kind of sounds like that.
Want a sip of the Coca-Cola?
Your brains, yes.
Your brains.
You're a very squeaky kind of crazy mad scientist, sort of like that. Yes.
And there was another guy in that show, cultural Oleander. It's kind of like a George C. Scott kind of voice. He's one of those guys.
You know,
And there were other characters on there.
it's funny. I always thought, and it was really based on two things, of course, their personalities, which were both strong, and their voices. Their voices just were so beautifully blended, and they were a couple. I don't know how long they stayed a couple when they were married, but I always thought it was a fantastic pairing because of personality and because of the voice. George C. Scott and Colleen Dewhurst.
Wow. I'm not
the two of them. Yeah, you hear their voices, and there's a similarity a little bit says what a perfect pairing in a way.
Yeah, voices are magical things.
Frozen too. No, there's something everybody knows.
Yeah, except I haven't seen it, and I have no recollection of what I did in it. I love getting them chicks.
Once you move to Iceland, all memory of what happens in those states, there's contiguous states, disappears.
It's
World of Warcraft.
You do so much stuff.
So much stuff.
And you're so many auditions, so many jobs.
Years of it too.
Yeah. And so it's just
World of Warcraft is another one, video games. I mean, the video games a big area, isn't it?
It is. I remember somebody saying 15 years ago, it's bigger than film and TV combined. It's probably
you've done we're only scratching the surface, gang, of what he's done in his career with all these genres, including voiceover, but these are just some of the projects. World of Warcraft is another one, but also you've done a lot of different Star Wars video game voices as well, huh?
Yeah, I was on the Star Wars thing from the beginning.
Yeah,
I was on video games from the beginning.
Yes,
some of the first and it was LucasArts who produced the first stuff. I think it was one of the Harrison Ford ones. What the heck is it called? I can't remember. But it was they called them talkies. They didn't call them video games.
That's right.
Before that, interactive stuff had they didn't have voices to it, and they advertised in the back of the Hollywood Reporter, which is a weird place to advertise for actors. You would just never usually do that. And they said, we're making these talkies. We want people with interesting voices. And A friend of mine told me about this. I said, okay. I asked my agent, never heard of him. And I just started doing it. And then of course, the whole thing blew up. But yeah, I was on the Star Wars franchise from the beginning, a lot of LucasArts stuff.
That's really, really cool stuff to be a part of that as well, and to be immersed, in that world. But in addition to all of that, you still love performing. When did the comedian part, being a comedian, when did that start to come into play? Or were you always doing that along the way, Nick?
When I started right around the time I started doing voiceover, when my agents started sending me out to do on-camera work, I had very little experience, like none really. I'd taken a few acting classes and decided that I sucked at it. But they insisted that I go out. Hey, you got a good look. You're funny. Go out and try this thing. So I remember the first job I was on, I watched the other actors and everybody was doing pretty well. They were feeling pretty relaxed. And then when the close-up would come, they'd tense up. And, and I felt myself doing the same thing. So I thought, key to this is relaxing, and the way to do that is to find something that's harder than this and get good at it. So I thought, how about this improv comedy thing I've seen? And it just seemed to me like, wow. I would watch it and be like, this is amazing. How do they do it? So I went and took a workshop and immediately fell in love with it, and immediately found that I was good at it. And so I started doing improv comedy from then on out, and that really, I probably learned more about acting from doing improv than anything. And it got me so many jobs in TV.
Yeah.
It's a great skill to have for anybody who wants to get into acting. And I just loved it. I ended up with a wonderful actor named Gracie Moore. we were in an improv group, and Mitzi Shore at the Comedy Store plucked us out of this improv group and put us in the main room of the Comedy Store with the stand-ups. And we were doing improv. We doing improv songs. Improv music became my specialty, making up songs on the spot, and that's what we would do. And we do it in the main room of the Comedy Store, just kill it. And and so I've been doing improv for a long time. I never had any interest in stand-up. It's too bad, because when I was at the Comedy Store, then I could have started writing and started doing that then. But I was an improv snob. I kind of looked down on stand-ups. Man, they do the same thing every night. What is wrong with them? That's supposed to be so boring. But when I moved to Iceland, a friend of mine was took me to his show. There was this budding English language stand-up scene going on. And nobody was very good. They're all just starting out, trying to feel their way out, but it just looked really fun. And I started thinking about it. And then I did a hip hop show. I did a comedic rap song for another producer. And the guy who ran the stand-up shows saw me. He said, "Why don't you come and do that in the intermission in our stand-up show?" So I did this comedic rap song in the intermission of a stand-up show a few times. And they said, "Well, I'm going to put you in the show." Then once I got in the show, it's like, why don't I start writing stand-up? Why don't I try this?
You're right, exactly.
I've been doing improv all this time. And then I just fell in love with it because, improv's great because you work with other people and you bounce off each other and all of that. But there's something about stand-up, being on the stage, you can do anything you want. You can write about it. You can just make it about anything you want. Exactly. And you have total control over it. And I've just kind of developed over time this thing of combining stand-up with music, comedic music, and improvised comedic music, and character work, doing little two-man scenes and stuff. Yeah. So I'm not a typical stand-up, really. I'm not really a straight-ahead club stand-up. Yeah. I kind of combine a bunch of different elements to do my own thing.
So you were brought in sort of, just scooped right up early on, which is kind of exciting. How did it feel to be, plucked so early in your career?
Oh, you mean the stand-up thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was interesting because I'd obviously been performing a long time. I'd done improv a long time, so I kind of hit the ground running. Right. I did pretty well right away. Yeah. I mean, it takes a long time to really master stand-up. I'm not there. But then again, because I do all these other things that most other people don't do, it kind of makes up for that to an extent.
Was that the first time you were plucked?
Plucked. Yes, I've been plucked and shaved and so on. But the stand-up scene here has become really good. A lot of really great comics who've just sort of grown up with this thing. It's I can't say enough about it. It's really, really a good scene. We all, unlike most stand-up scenes, or unlike it was at the Comedy Store, for sure, we all hang together. We know each other. We like each other.
Right.
Afterwards, drink and talk shop, and put together different shows with different groups of people, and it's really a lot of fun.
We actually have some evidence of the work in action for our viewers. Hey, gang, if you're watching for the first time, this is the Jim Masters Show, entertainment, lifestyle, variety talk show series, bringing back the lost art of conversation. We welcome everybody that's watching from all around the world. Don't forget to give some levity to our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. Subscribe. And if you enjoy this episode, give it a thumbs up and a like, and definitely leave a comment underneath the episode. Drop a comment in the episode. Say hi. We would absolutely love this. Now, this is titled Good Day. Where was this? And tell us a little bit about this, a little preface before we show it to our viewers. This
was at Reykjavík, which was where the scene started out. And we're starting to do shows there again. And this piece is part of a longer set that I do. And in that set, I get into the way people greet each other all over the world. Little twists on that. And at one point I said, that there was a time when good day was an insult. And so, the old Charlie thingy in the chocolate factory.
Willy
Good day,
Wonka.
sir.
Yeah.
I said good day. So
Good day,
I
like
sort of-
good riddance. Goodbye. Yeah.
right. So I just did this two-person scene that I did myself on Good Day.
All right, let's take a look at that right now and enjoy, gang. Nick Jameson is here from Reykjavík, Iceland. How cool, literally, is that? All right, here's Good Day.
You dare impugn the virtue of my lady? Good day, sir.
Good day to me. Good day to me. No, sir. Good day to you.
I shall ignore the lack of originality in your childish retort and simply state that I bid you a far better day than you did me.
You are mistaken, sir. For I bid you a day so fraught with excellence that the sun itself would weep bitter tears at having to end it by setting.
A weeping sun. Is that what you consider a good day, sir? Consider the day the Duke of Wellington defeated Napoleon Bonaparte at the Battle of Waterloo. It would be obvious to the most casual observer that that was a truly wonderful day. And it is that day, or one very much like it, that I bid you have until you choke upon its goodness.
Choke on this. What of the day our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, rose from the dead and ascended to heaven on clouds of glory? Does that not supersede in grandeur the arse-whooping of a miniature smelly Frenchman? Thus, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, I bid you that good day, sir!
Oh, sir, have I got a day for you. You see, the word good is derived from the word God. Therefore, the day that God Almighty created the heavens and earth and all creatures great and small must needs be, by definition, the goodest day of all. For on that day, the angels sang hosannas of joy. The devil cursed his own unworthiness. The stars shone with the light of 1,000 suns, and the universe was bathed in a holy beneficence. And mankind would exalt this day until the end of time as being unsurpassed in nobility, pulchritude, and chocolatey goodness. And should you doubt my assessment, sir, I suggest you take the matter up with the Almighty, who would not only confirm the unparalleled quality of this day of days, but would undoubtedly bid it to you himself. That is the day I bid you have, sir.
Thank you, guys.
That is fantastic.
They were more civilized with their insults back then, I think.
I think just a little bit, right? Just a little bit. Wow. What inspires you to, put these routines together? Are you just somebody who's always watching life and your certain idiosyncrasies of life sort of fascinate you?
Yeah, the Good Day thing. God, I've liked that since I was a kid. Eric Bazillion from the Hooters, who I mentioned earlier, we used to do good deeds, serve each other all the time. But I just thought, I wanted to kind of make it a one-upmanship thing, kind of like Four Yorkshiremen by Monty Python. I just thought the idea of bidding each other a better day as a greater insult was funny. But in general, yeah, just things that intrigue me, things that the way I look at it is I like to find things that are sort of true, personal, true to me, and something an audience can relate to as something true. I like it to be interesting enough to where I could do a TED talk and take out all the funny and it would still be interesting. And I want it to be really funny. And it's really hard to get all three of those.
Yeah, but you've done that too with music too, huh?
I did do a TED talk, yeah, but it was mostly music. They hired me to do quote unquote slam poetry, which I'd never done before. So I wrote something, and then I did some songs. So that was a lot of fun, actually.
That's cool. Yeah. Wow. That's fantastic. But again, you've also performed, here, there, and everywhere. Are you still, when you get the chance, going all over, traveling, or? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I was actually I'm doing a Crowd of One, my latest solo show. I'm doing a kind of a Nordic fringe festival tour. I did Finland a couple months ago. And then I went to America and did some shows in America, in LA, and we did the Reykjavík Fringe Festival here. Going to Gothenburg in about a month. So yeah, I don't go out on road tours or anything like that. Don't have a real burning desire to, but I get around. It was great playing in LA. It was great because nobody in LA had seen me do stand up. They just remember me as an actor and an improviser. So
Right,
it was
exactly.
really a lot of fun. Yeah.
Right. We've got another one here. This is live at the Burbank Comedy Festival. Tell us about this.
Oh, well,
Cool.
this is a story. I mean, I think that clip it doesn't tell the whole story, and it's just little bits, but it's the Reykjavik dating scene, if you can even call it that, is really unique. The thing here, the way things work here is you kind of have sex first, then if that works out, go on a date. And if
I
that works
saw a
out,
video on that. There was a
did you?
documentary. There was a documentary made on that. That's
Oh, I want to
on.
see that. What's it
It's on
called?
the internet or something. I forget the name of it, but it was all about that, where
Oh.
the sex is first, and then based on that, they decide whether or not there's going to be a relationship.
Yeah, or there's going
Where
to be
here,
a baby.
where it's a little bit different here in America,
Oh
they
yeah.
don't ask, for the sex first. They want to know your credit score and if you're in debt.
No, here, yeah, sex first. Then if that
So
works
I don't
out,
know
you go on a date.
what is the
Yeah,
what should
it's
you,
it's
it's
strange.
apples and oranges.
Yeah, it really is. Sex first. Then if that works out, you might go on a date. If that works out, you might have a kid. And
It's
if
a
that
true
works out,
thing. That's
maybe get
how it
married,
works.
maybe not.
That's what they
It's
do. Yeah.
yeah, and it all happens pretty young. Everybody in our comedy scene, they're most of the guys are very young, and they're all starting to have kids now. But yeah, one night, and it sounds, a lot of people think, oh, that's disgusting. It's all about sex. There's something very innocent about it. There's some kind of sweet about it. It's just the way they roll, And I was at a club one night, and I used to just go there and watch the whole scene. I called it the puffin mating dance, and
Yeah.
I'm there, and there was a lady comes up to the bar, and she's kind of looking at me, and I'm looking at her, and I'm like, I'm not really into this. And then this guy comes dancing up to her and plants a kiss on her cheek, and she's like, and so he goes away. Then he comes back 20 minutes later, does the same thing, and then a little later, the lights come on, the end of the night, and the girl is still there, and the guy comes by, and she just sort of puts her hand out with a sort of, oh, well.
Right.
He takes her hand, they start going out, and while he's walking out, he's checking out the room to see if he could do better. And at that night, the phrase came to me that Reykjavik is all about, I'm drunk, I'm horny, you'll do. There's a thing where you cannot go home alone.
Right.
If you're out clubbing, it's just normal to have sex, and you feel like a loser if you don't. So that's where that comes from. And this song, I don't think I have the stand-up that goes before it on this clip. It's sung from the female perspective. So I'm singing as a woman there because I've just seen so many horrible guys like this guy at that club,
Right.
treat women so bad there. They're like, so, but the other way around happens too. They both do it. Women hit on men hit on women. It's all crazy. But like I said, it's not as crazy as it sounds. It's not as decadent as it sounds. Anyway, that's where that song came from.
Here it is, live at the Burbank Comedy Festival. Enjoy.
Now, some of you may have heard tales of the notorious downtown Reykjavík nightlife and hookup scene. We got a witness over here. For those of you who have, you need to forget that right now. You got the PG Disney version. For those of you who have not, I'm going to sum it up for you in one phrase. I'm drunk, I'm horny, you'll do. Or to put it in another way, the volume of alcohol consumed multiplied by the degree of hormonal activity in the lower body is inversely proportional to the number of given about quality control. I took the bus in from Hafnarfjörður, looking for some fun. Hope to find my Prince Charming. Well, son, you ain't the one. But there's no one here any better. And it's almost 2:30. And I'm drunk, I'm horny, you'll do. Oh, I broke up with my boyfriend not all that long ago. It was 8 o'clock this evening. Yeah, crazy, right? I know. He was a and a douchebag. And so are you. But I'm drunk. I'm horny. You'll do.
That is something. It's
The adventure of the night continues from then.
I was going to say, I think you've really captured the essence of what that's about.
Yeah, well, the natives seem to think so. It's very.
There is a documentary out there about it, and
Yeah,
I
gotta
couldn't believe
find
it. Yeah,
If you remember what it is, or if you have it somewhere, just
yeah,
shoot me a
yeah.
message. I would love to see that.
Yeah. It was something that I saw that I was like, is this real? Is this really what goes on? There, and I had no idea because I don't know. I just assumed a European country, perhaps, maybe not the case, but
There was actually a book, a guy named Rausch or Roosh, I forget, who's a pickup artist. He's one of these, professional pickup artists who teaches people how to pick up women. He wrote a book called How to Bang Iceland. And I saw that in the book, so I had to get it. And it was about that. And at the end of the book, as he recounts all these adventures and how he found the scene, his conclusion was that the scene in Reykjavik is just too cold-hearted for him. There's just, and this is a pickup artist, it wasn't warm and fuzzy enough for him.
Oh my God.
This guy who manipulates women into bed, and it was too much for him.
That is crazy. Well, we've got another clip here as well from the Burbank Comedy Festival. And,
oh, do you? I think that's the whole. That's probably just the whole. Oh no, that's what you just played.
It's about 29 seconds. This one.
Yeah, I think. Oh, that's a shorter one of the same thing. That was just an alternative. I didn't know how long.
Okay, so it's the same. So we do have another one here too that we want to bring up. This one here is from Reykjavík as well. This is live at the Reykjavík Blues Festival. Tell us about this. This is
there's a blues festival every year. I have a blues band here with a guy named Becky Smowry, who's a great guitar player.
What's the name of the band?
Well, Nick Jameson and Becky Smowry. Usually, it depends what we're doing. It started out kind of as a jam band, and
does that all fit onto one banner? I mean,
yeah, it does. But yeah, and we've played around. We've played in Denmark. We've played around Iceland, and we play every week. If you're in Iceland watching this, we play every week at Dylan Whiskey Bar, and it's one of the most fun things I ever do. And I tend to mix in a little comedy with it. I'll do like an improvised blues song sometime. And this blues festival every year, they'll have artists coming from around the world, but mostly Icelandic blues artists. And it's really a great time. I should say this video was shot on an iPhone, but the sound was professionally recorded, so it sounds better than it looks. And this is our mashup of the song "I Just Want to Make Love to You." We start doing it the kind of traditional way, the Muddy Waters way, and then we segue into the Foghat version. And I think it was kind of it's kind of edited.
One of those earthquake tremors from the volcano.
Yeah, right. So this is kind of a brief version of that.
He was talking about sounds better than it looks. Some blind dates could be like that, huh?
Yeah, yeah, most of them probably. Yeah, I think the whole thing we were talking about with online voiceover could be applied to online dating too. You know, you just take that human element out.
Face for radio type thing and all.
Yeah, right.
That's funny. Here we are. Well, now we're going to take you to Reykjavík, gang, and enjoy. This is cool. This is live at the Reykjavík Blues Festival. Nick Jameson on the Jim Master Show.
I don't want you to be no slave. And I don't want you to work all day. And I don't need your money. No, I don't need your money. I don't need your overinflated krona. Can't afford a cappuccino, let alone an apartment at 101, because Airbnb done drove all the prices up. Heavy to spending, got money. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Because I just want to make love to you. It's a simple request. I don't want you cook my bread. I don't want you make my bed. I want you to mess it up. I don't want you, 'cause I'm sad and blue. I just want to make love to you. Make my bed. I want you to be true. Come here, baby. What are we going to do? I want you.
Very cool, huh? You're right. The sound is terrific. Yeah, the audio was spot on there. That was really, really great.
I think YouTube is messing with it. It usually sounds even better than that.
Says everybody. Nah, I know they dive into everything. Hey, I want to show. I mentioned some of the television side of your work. Like you're one of those people who you've had your hands in everything from recording, producer, and engineering to singing and performing and voiceovers and television and all of it, including Lost. Tell us about this, and of course that iconic character, Richard Malkin.
Yeah, I love that character. When I got the script for that, I just it was an early version of the script that I got, and the description was that he's kind of nerdy. He's a psychic, but he's not real new agey. He's kind of nerdy and shy and reserved. And I felt, okay, that's an interesting take, especially because he's Australian. You tend to think of Australians as being these sort of macho characters,
Right?
Yeah, another throw in the Barbie, mate. And so, because of that, I based his voice on a guy named Slim Dusty, who's an Australian sort of folk music legend.
Yes.
From back in the day. And he had a reedy little voice. He used to sing about stand at the bar of a pub with no beer. And so I thought that little voice something like that would work for this character. I didn't do it exactly, but it was something along that direction. And also I had seen, when I was in Melbourne, I'd seen a late night interview with a minister who ran a group for singles for people that were very lonely and stuck at home and shy and stuff. And this guy had such a sort of a timid manner to him also. And I thought, wow, a timid Australian. That's interesting. So I related to all of that. And I also related to the psychic thing of it, the visualization, because, you know, I've meditated for a long time, and it was just interesting as an actor to get into that thing and, you know, create these movies in my head of what he would be seeing and stuff. And another great thing about this character, Lynn Litt, who wrote it, I just thought it was brilliant. In the early version of the script, there was a part where some people come up to a booth that he's telling fortunes, and she asks him, how much is it? And he says, points to a sign and says, those are my pricings. And I just thought that word pricings and the hesitation, that just gave me the whole character. So
I like that.
I love it when that happens, when you get these
pricings.
elements that you can totally relate to.
It's right. That's cool. I mean, that's a beloved series that's still fondly talked about. Lost, which was on ABC, of course. I mean, you had an opportunity to really appear in quite a few. I mean, you were on Criminal Minds. You had an appearance there. Tell us about that. Joe Mantegna and the whole group. What was that like?
That was great. It was great working with Mandy Patinkin. You know, I had heard that, oh, Mandy's a diva. He's difficult to work with. I didn't find him that way at all. We kind of connected over music right away. We just started talking about music because I had really liked his solo album. I'd seen his Broadway work. And of course, you know, he's so great in Princess Bride and other stuff. You know, Yentl. And we just had a great time. We had a great time hanging out. It was great to work with him, great to do scenes with him. And it was great to play somebody truly evil, you know. And it's always fun.
You remember the character?
Yeah, because you got to work real hard to find out what their justification is for doing what they do.
Right.
And some characters like Richard III, Shakespeare's Richard III, they don't have any justification. They just like being evil. But most people, you know, you have to find out why they want to go be a serial killer or why they do end up doing that. So it's a lot of fun to do that. Not serial killing, playing serial killers. So that was
little preface there, right?
Yeah, okay.
That is funny. But that, I mean, again, that's another beloved series. Same thing with West Wing.
Yeah, I had a pretty small part on that. I would have liked to do more on that, but I didn't have a very big part. I played sort of a.
Still, you got in the door. I mean,
yeah, yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah,
that's a great series. A lot of people have asked for that series to return, especially, you know, with all the craziness going on in our world these days. Days of Our Lives too.
Days of Our Lives.
Yes, was it Tristan or what were you?
I'm trying to remember what I was doing in that. I get that confused with both.
Did you play Tristan, I think, or
maybe was I French or something? I might have been French. I don't really remember. I remember it was a pretty big episode for them.
Yeah,
it tied up a bunch of stuff. But I didn't know much about the show. My friend Morgan Shepherd was there. He was a great actor and a great, Shakespearean British from the old school. Great acting teacher too. I don't remember that much about it, honestly, except that it was kind of fun to do. The people were very nice. You tend to do those things very quick, you know, one or two takes.
Maybe they had you in a scene where you were in a coma. That's why you don't remember.
Yeah, probably.
Usually soap operas, you're in a coma at least once.
Yeah,
and you come back as the evil brother.
I like that. You come in there, you knock the scene out, and you move on.
Right. You know? They knock off one character, and then the character comes back a year later as the evil twin.
Yeah, that's the best.
Beverly Hills 90210 also.
Yeah, I played. Oh gosh, I played the gay husband of one of the women in the show. It never come around out and say he's gay, but he's so obviously flamboyantly over the top gay.
Which do you remember? Which was it? Tori Spelling or which one?
No. Oh gosh,
McCarthy, Jenny McCarthy, or
terrible that I
not one of the main characters.
I think it was a sort of almost main character.
Yeah.
Gosh, I wish I could remember. It was a lot of fun. It was really fun.
And Aaron Spelling production.
Tim Stack is just a hilarious guy. He played the lead
Oh,
there, and he produced the show, and it's just
yeah.
a lot of fun. His brother Pat Stack is also a great producer and director. Yeah, that was a hoot. Golden Girls, that was the first TV show I was ever on.
The Golden Girls, huh?
Yeah.
What a show to be on. Another iconic one. And with that amount of extraordinary talent you had there, Estelle Getty, Rue McClanahan, Beatrice Arthur, Betty White, huh?
Yeah, they were amazing.
What was that like?
That I got that. I think I got that from the Comedy Store. A friend of mine saw me doing an improv song at the Comedy Store, and suggested, he knew the producers of that show, and they were looking for somebody to play a Renaissance minstrel at a Renaissance themed restaurant. And they wanted me to sing the theme song to Gilligan's Island.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure.
3-hour tour.
Yeah. So I wasn't sure exactly how they wanted me to do it. So I kind of improvised lyrics to it when I went in for the audition, which they loved, but because of copyright reasons, they couldn't do that. So I ended up having to do it verbatim, but I did a medieval version of that. Oh, sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a landing ship, something. It was funny. Yeah, the guy keeps coming up to B. Arthur's table. B. Arthur and Hal Linden are trying to have a romantic dinner and discussing all this dramatic stuff from the past, and I keep coming up and interrupting them. It was a lot of fun. It was a great first show to be on.
Seinfeld too.
Oh yeah.
How did that happen?
That happened. I think I had auditioned a number of times for Seinfeld. They liked me. They kept bringing me in for stuff. And this was a German tourist who who thinks Kramer has stolen something. It's kind of a complex plot, but the scene I was in, or the main scene I was in, was based on Marathon Man. It was a parody of Marathon Man. And they took a lot of time to get it right, crane shots and everything. It's a scene in the movie Marathon Man where an old lady on the street recognizes a German war criminal, a mastermind from the concentration camps, and starts chasing him down the street and screaming at him, "I know that man! It's him! It's them!" And this was just a parody of that. And it was me and this older woman who's going, "Stop him! I know that man! I see him!" And then I go up and confront Kramer as a outraged German tourist. That was fun. It was a lot of fun.
I tell you, really an amazing series. I mean, like I said, you've had an opportunity to be a part of iconic television series and specials and animation and like all of these incredible things when you look at it all. Something that's more recent, matter of fact, this year is this one.
Oh, that you won't find me in that. Honestly, I think they cut out most of it.
Did they cut out what you?
Well, most of it was a very small part.
What were you going to be doing?
Well, I was. Oh gosh, there was kind of a.
If they watch this, maybe they'll have.
It was a legal proceeding. It was sort of a tense hearing in a courtroom. And I was one of the people who asked a few questions. I mean, they just called me up and said, "Would you do this?" It's a small part, but you really can't even see me. I'm just it's a long shot of it. It's a long table. So it's not something I would put on my reel, but I understand it's a good movie. I haven't had a chance to watch it.
So you're in it, but from a distance?
Yeah. I would say I'm barely in it. I really would.
But you can still cash the $2, can't you?
Yeah, probably. It is without a doubt the smallest part I've ever done in my life.
Hey, look at the stuff that we have here. This is kind of cool. Tell us about this.
Oh yeah, Mad Magazine did a parody of my episode of Lost, and that's my character. And that's the lead character, Matthew, his character. And oh yeah, there I am again.
Blender Magazine.
Yeah, right. There was sort of a wide-ranging interview, kind of like this one, covering a lot of different bases. So
Yeah.
We have the Mad Magazine representation of Lost, and we have good old Foghat.
Look at
Oh,
that.
and this is a recent article in the paper here. It's Je fann min toverstad, which means I found my magic place. And you know, and you were asking about how I came to Reykjavik. I told that story in great detail, and how much I love Iceland. And because Icelanders like to hear how much you love their country, which I do.
Absolutely.
And yeah.
So they did a cover story on you.
Yeah. Oh,
Rock and Roll Press.
Yeah, miscellaneous clippings from here, there, and everywhere. Yeah, there I am, plucking away in Foghat.
That's, of course, Richard Malkin from Lost, which is a really good shot. Did you mention Gilligan earlier?
There he is. Oh,
there he is. You know who was a guest on the show actually twice? Is Dreamer Denver, Bob's wife.
Really?
Yeah, and she sent this along when she was on the show, and she's really fantastic. And paying homage to your friend Gilligan there. And you know who else is with us as well? I tell you, somebody that likes to stop by and say hello. Mr. George Burns is with us too.
George Burns, yeah, wonderful. I love George Burns. I love George Burns. Yeah.
Now, in that expression right there, freeze frame, you almost look a little Robin Williams. Yes.
Really? Wow.
Yes, you do.
Well,
with that smile, when you started to do the George Furnish, you started to take on a little bit of a Robin Williams look. Wow.
Yeah, I never met Robin Williams. I did do the genie in the TV version of Aladdin.
You did, yes.
Even before the Critic, when I first came to town, everybody in the world was auditioning to play the TV genie because Dan Castellaneta from The Simpsons had been doing it. And for some reason, Jeffrey Katzenberg didn't like what he was doing. I don't know why. He was doing a great job. So they auditioned a whole bunch of people, and I got it. I was like, oh, my God, I can't believe this. But then they went back to using Dan. What I heard was that Robin wanted them to use Dan, and he had some influence over. But that was fun. I got to be a proxy Robin for a while. And he's so brilliant. You know, I would say he was an influence in my stand-up because I didn't used to watch a lot of stand-up, really. I come more out of Monty Python and the Goon Show. And that But, you know, I go back and look at that stuff. He's so quick and he's so brilliant. He's such a wonderful performer.
What are some of the things you're working on now that you're excited about, Nick?
I'm writing new stand-up material, just new bits. I've taken a lot of the stuff that I've been doing over the last few years, or more than a few years, even, and squished them into this Crowd of One show. I have another show that I did, a Fringe show that I've done before called Why Are You So Old, which is a completely different show. But now that I've kind of put all this old material into this show, I don't want to do any more old material here in Reykjavik. You know, I'll do this show when other places, but so I'm just kind of writing a lot of stuff, writing a lot of songs, writing a lot of serious songs too. You know, something I do. I'm a songwriter, and I just got a lot of really good songs that I want to get out there. And so yeah, that's what mostly I'm doing, and I'm going out and performing stand up and just living the dream in Reykjavik. You know,
absolutely. Did you find that when you go from place to place, you have to alter the comedy a little bit for where you're at?
I found that in Finland, my language was a little strong. And also because I'm used in Reykjavik, people speak better English than we do. I mean, especially anybody like under about 35 or so. And Reykjavik's generally a very young town. And so I don't have to worry about people following me. And my comedy is pretty verbal. You know, I get pretty complex with language. So I found that to be a little bit of an issue in Finland too. I had to slow things down. Strangely enough, the Icelandic specific material like Drunk Horny, and I do another thing about how impatient people are in the supermarket when you're bagging your groceries, because nobody can bag groceries as fast as an Icelander. All of that stuff travels really well. You know, I just kind of set it up and it works. So I really don't alter much, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. But you're loving it, huh? I mean, when you look at all of these things you've done and you continue to plug away and you're still out there performing, what are some of those blessings and joys in your life, Nick, that forge you ahead to continue to do what you're doing all these years in so many different genres too?
Yeah, well, I just kind of follow my heart, you know. I follow whatever interests me. I follow my appetite, as Igor
Right.
Stravinsky would say. You know, it's like I'm hungry for this, and I go after it. And lately, writing and performing stand-up comedy and music together is my thing. That's what I enjoy. I like, you know, it's great when you get an idea for a comedic song and you think, oh, that's not been done. I'm gonna do that. And then I spend a lot of time on the songs because my thing about comedy music, especially improv comedy music, is I want the music to be really good.
Mhm.
A lot of comedic music, the music is kind of an afterthought. You know, it's all
Right.
about the funny. And in improv comedy, especially, people tend to do things like it's all about setting up rhymes, setting up clever rhymes and stuff. But I approach it as if I were writing a song. I just try to write the best song I can, but because the audience wants me to write about it, you know, write about rotten cigars or whatever they want me to write about, it'll be funny. But the more legit I make the song, the better it's going to be. So I really enjoy working on these songs. The written ones, I spend a lot of time trying to get them as musically interesting as possible, and
Yeah.
of course, trying to get the lyrics as funny and interesting as possible. So that's very fulfilling to me. And again, I love performing comedy. I just love it. It's just a great time. And here it's a great communal experience too with my fellow comedians, because we love to hang out and have a good time. We bounce off each other. So it's a happy making thing.
Absolutely right. Has it overtaken your love of music, or is the love of music still always there for you?
Well, you know, I'm still doing the music. I mean, I'm doing the music in the comedy. I would say my stuff is maybe 50% music. Like, I mean, sometime I'll go on and do a straight stand-up set with no music. Sometime I go all music. Sometime I'll mix them up. But I'm never far from doing music. And of course, I got my blues band. And I love playing the blues. I love playing blues guitar. And I'm writing songs a lot. So there's actually, honestly, not enough hours in the day to do all the stuff I want to do.
Right, exactly. So where do you go in Reykjavík for a good Philly cheesesteak?
Philly cheesesteak. Yeah, well, I don't think you're going to get a Philly cheesesteak in Reykjavik. You know, we got a limited selection of restaurants over here. No, I don't think you can get one. It just ain't gonna happen. You can't get one in LA. You know what I mean? You got to go to Philly. You got to go to Philly. Come on, that's what you got to do.
You got to get it. Same thing like the bagels in New York and the pizza in New York. Exactly.
Oh yeah.
What about the cuisine? Tell us a little bit about maybe just living in Iceland. What are some of the new things you've incorporated into your lifestyle?
That's an interesting question. As far as the cuisine, the places I eat, and most places, it's not much different. You wouldn't find it shockingly different than what you're used to in New York. You don't have the kind of variety you have in New York. Tends to be expensive eating out, but we have some very good high-end restaurants, and you know, a fairly good range of restaurants. There are places that specialize in Scandinavian food. As far as Icelandic cuisine, the things that are specifically Icelandic,
Seafood.
the lamb is great.
Lamb, yeah.
They're big into seafood, but they're mostly into white fishes, you know,
Yeah.
white fish like cod and stuff, which I'm not a fan of. But the lamb is the best in the world. It's great. Culturally, what else would I say is? Oh boy. Well,
is there anything that you don't do that you used to do or say in America that you've dropped since living in Iceland?
Yeah, driving, sitting in a car for 5 hours a day. Yeah, staying at home a lot. I really had very little social life in LA. It seems strange, but
yeah,
because I lived in Topanga Canyon, which is a little bit outside of LA. And
that is a beautiful area. That overlook. Oh,
it's great.
Yeah.
But I'd be driving around doing jobs and auditions all day, and by the time I got home, I didn't want to go out again.
Yeah.
I would have to drive for 45 minutes to
Just
do anything.
right.
Yeah, and you have to plan it and stuff. But here, like, after we finish this interview, I could just walk down the street, go to a club, go to a restaurant, just whatever. And everything's a lot more spontaneous here. They put it that way. It's spontaneous in a very good way. It just stuff kind of happens, stuff clicks, stuff connects.
You're probably happy as you watch the news and seeing all the craziness going on around the world that you are where you are. I mean, if there's anything that's going to happen, it's usually maybe geological, like the volcano type thing or earthquake.
Right.
But as far as the chaos that you see going on around the world, you're in a pretty good place where you are right now. That, and I think probably Switzerland.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty crazy in the States. I keep up with what's going on. It's not pleasing. But yeah, it is very relatively serene here. It was a very small country though. Remember, it's 340,000 people. And if something happens in the government that people don't like, they take to the streets and throw the bums out.
Simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, there is corruption and nepotism here too, like there is everywhere else. But yeah, it's a great lifestyle. If you're looking for quality of life, you can't do better than Iceland. You really can't. It's we're consistently rated up there in the top 5 places to live. A lot of times we're number 1 or number 2. I think Finland won this year.
Rivalry between Finland and Iceland, huh?
Yeah. It's usually the Scandinavian countries always come out on top. Switzerland, yeah. We got something going on. I don't know.
I tell you, something's in the water.
Yeah.
How's the cat doing?
As a New Yorker, you would appreciate this, that you can drink the tap water.
Drink the tap water, exactly.
Yeah. If you go to buy a bottle of water in a store, they'll tell you, don't bother, just drink the tap water.
No, so, yeah.
Delicious. Yeah.
How's the cat doing? The cat was walking around in front of you on the table and everything. The cat finally. Yeah. What's the cat's name?
Lila.
Is it Lila?
You're rolling around on the couch. Lila. She came from America with me.
Did she?
Me getting in here wasn't a problem because I'm half British. My dad was born in London.
Yeah.
So that made it easy for me. I just kind of walked right in, whereas most Americans, it's very hard to live here permanently. But my cat, man, what we had to do to get her here. Oh my God, the tests and the treatments and the this and the that, months of it. And it was really hard on her. And then she had to go in quarantine up by the Arctic Circle for like 6 weeks.
Quarantine.
Wasn't happy about that.
Quarantine.
We're together for the duration.
For a cat?
So, yeah. Quarantine. Yeah. A lot of, they're very.
That's usually where the mother-in-law goes, no? Or
right.
At the Arctic Circle, not the cat.
Right. Yeah, just send them away and lock them up. Yeah, it's they're very free of animal diseases, so they want to keep it that way. So it's hard.
And they've been okay with the pandemic. It's not
pandemic. Yeah, we're doing okay. Everything's pretty open. Everything's very open, actually.
And the inflation is.
Well, I think it's like I said, it's expensive here.
Yeah.
There's
the cat right behind you. Look, right there. Yeah.
It's expensive. The taxes are higher, but you get a lot for it. You get free healthcare and all that stuff.
She said, "Have you been talking about me while I was rolling around on the couch?
Hi, baby.
Give me some FaceTime so I can say hi to all my friends back home in America."
You're a kitty.
Yeah.
You feeling the lovity kitty? Lovity kitty.
I tell you, cutie, huh?
Yeah, she's a sweetie. She is a sweetie.
Well, this was awesome, my friend. And George Burns said that you knocked it out of the park. He usually sits down here with his martini and his cigar, and he's always here towards the latter part of every episode. My aunt collected dolls, as I mentioned on the episodes, and some really good collectible dolls too that are hard to find. And this one was one of them, and it got passed down to me. So he pops in towards the end. He said, "You knocked it out of the park, kiddo," and he thoroughly enjoyed it. And he is taking a look see what Iceland is all about, and he kind of liked it. Although I think
George, smoke a cigar or two.
right, exactly. Good night, Gracie. This was awesome, Nick. Continued blessings and joy. You found your sweet spot. You've done all this and music and television and film and comedy and stage and behind the scenes and voiceovers and animation. And you've really hit upon almost all of the areas within the industry, and other than maybe being a newspaper reporter or something, but you probably did that when you were 12.
No, I have
the
never
Philadelphia
done that.
Inquirer, delivering the Philly Inquirer newspapers, probably on Sundays.
That'd be too stressful for me, I think.
Yeah, I tell you, this was amazing. And I hope you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with you. And
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. This has been a great interview. Really, really, you've covered a lot of ground and brought back a lot of memories.
And created some new ones. And that's why I say we call these conversations really kind of like Dick Cavett and Carson. We just go in any direction with the audience watching and doing their thing as well. And this was fantastic. And our friend Cynthia, of course, who at the time of this right now is in Europe, right? Doing her thing. Cynthia Shaw, who was a guest on our show as well. And we say hello to her and cool stuff. Hope the show met whatever expectations you had as well. And you're welcome back. You're welcome back anytime, my friend.
No, I would love to.
Make sure you spread the word. Now go on all the streets and go into all the pubs and everywhere and tell them I was on the Jim Masters show live in America.
I will.
You should watch it and become a lovity.
I'll put it all over social media, the whole deal.
Suddenly we'll have a big Icelandic spike, which would be cool.
Yeah.
Is there a website, or can people, like, if they want to get your music or they just want to see things, is there anywhere they can
do
go?
On my website. I don't have a website up now. I have.
Was it basically your name.com?
Yeah. It's not really even there anymore. You can hit me up on Facebook to keep up with what I'm doing. It's mostly about what I'm doing locally, of course. I intend to get more active on social media as far as getting stuff up, getting music and video clips.
So you have the page, the official page, right? Yeah, the Facebook official page.
Yeah, just my personal Nick Jameson page on Facebook. Yeah, come follow me on that and see what kind of crazy crap I'm up to.
That's it. Thanks for joining us on the show, Nick. It was fantastic, and you're welcome back anytime. And spread the word. If you know folks you think would like to pop on, they're all welcome. And
I will do that.
Takes a village.
Interesting people here. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. That'll be cool. You be well, my friend, and thanks for spending this time with us on the Jim Master Show. Really appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Jim.
What would be a Icelandic see you later type thing?
Sjáumst hérna. See you later.
See you later. Thanks, Nick.
Okay, bye, Jim.
Bye now. Incredible conversation with Nick Jameson. Again, many of you know him from Foghat, yes, but a prolific voice actor and animations and television and so much more. Terrific comedian. Had us laughing today on this episode of the show. Musician and songwriter and vocalist and recording engineer, working on some great television shows. You saw some of them: Golden Girls, Seinfeld, The Critic. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. He's been on stage. He's done it all, and he's making his home in Reykjavík, Iceland, which is kind of cool, amazing. By way of Philadelphia, then Woodstock, then Atlanta, then other parts, Los Angeles, and a little Italy and Greece thrown in there for good measure. And he loves where he is in Iceland. That's one place I haven't had a chance to get to yet. It's on my radar. Hope to get to Iceland. I got a lot of friends there. Got to get to Iceland one of these days. It'd be really cool. You guys are great. Thanks for all the great comments. Thanks for all the levity. Feel free to leave a comment on our YouTube channel right underneath this episode if you enjoyed what we presented to you in this fantastically fun episode with Nick Jameson here on the show. Check it out. If you'd like to see this again, perhaps you want to rewatch this, or you want to just came in maybe at the tail end and you want to see it again, check it out. We house all of our episodes, some 740 we have done in just 2 years thus far, right here on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. So be sure and check it out. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give it some levity. Click that red button. There's no cost. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. There's a little bell icon there. That way you're alerted about all the episodes, especially when we do some at special times and things of that nature. You'll never miss an episode of the Jim Masters Show. And also, give this episode a like. There's a thumbs up icon on the YouTube channel there on every single episode. It really helps us grow exponentially when you do give us a like and leave a comment on our YouTube channel as well. Because what happens is, of course, we love that and we sincerely appreciate that, but YouTube also sees that, and then they take the episodes and they blast them out around the world even further. So it's kind of cool. So you're helping us out, and that allows you to be able to help yourself to more great episodes of the Jim Masters Show. So again, we thank Nick for joining us here on the show. He was fantastic. All this great conversation we had there, again, with Foghat and all the great shows. Again, Rick Malkin there and Lost and just so many others. Really, really cool stuff. Criminal Minds and The West Wing, and just the short list. We just scratched the surface of all the cool things that our friend Nick Jameson has done, and he's still doing it. He's still making people laugh. He's still playing the music, and this was really a fantastic episode. Again, if you want to see it again, it's right here on our YouTube channel. For those who are watching right now, thanks for joining us. Those who are going to watch this later on in the archives, we appreciate you as well. And spread the word about our series. That helps us grow terrifically. And don't forget to share these episodes. You know, you can share the link directly. All the episodes have a share button, so you can share the episode right from our YouTube channel page onto your social media. Hey, I love this episode, or check this out, or what have you. You can do that as well. Now, around here, we don't say goodbye at the Jim Masters Show. We say see you later, ciao, cheers, hasta la vista, vida zane, moya lu, slancha, take care, be well. Don't forget to love one another, take care of one another, and don't forget to take care of yourself. It's really important that you take care of yourself and be good to yourself as well. So for all of us here at the Jim Masters Show, we thank you very much for being with us. We appreciate you being with us here, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Jim Masters Show. Take care. Cheers.